People, we've existed on this earth for thousands of years, and though we populate by the billions, not much separates one from another. At least, not anything we can see just by looking. Since the end of the Neolithic age, the people of the world have been divided into three groups. The High. The members of this class hold the top rank on the hierarchical pyramid and are made distinct by their abundance of wealth. Throughout history, the class has gone by many names: elites, aristocrats, the 1%. In modern times, however, Karl Marx in the Communist Manifesto refers to this group as the bourgeoisie. He defines them as a class of modern capitalists, owners of the means of social production, and employers of wage labor. The aim of the High is to remain where they are. The Middle, a class comprised of white-collar workers, people we see every day. Doctors, lawyers, teachers. However, this class is divided into two. There's an upper middle class, or professional middle class, characterized by a higher level of education, primarily salaried professionals and managers. The lower middle class consists mostly of semi-professionals, skilled craftsmen, and lower-level management. But this class as a whole shares the same aim: to switch places with the High. The final class is the Low. As one would expect, it's the lowest tier on the social pyramid, but accounts for most of the population. The working class, or in Marxist terms, the proletariat. The people employed for wages, especially in manual labor occupations and in skilled industrial work. These are the blue collars that work in factories and within the fast food industry that experience most of the hardships which come with the inequalities of wealth distribution. From the Communist Manifesto, by proletariat, the class of modern wage laborers who have no means of production of their own are reduced to selling their labor power in order to live. The aim of the Low, when they have an aim, for it's an abiding characteristic of the Low that they are too much crushed by drudgery to be more than intimately conscious of anything outside their daily lives, is to abolish all distinctions and create a society in which all men shall be equal.
In the world of Oceania exists an organized class system, a system where Big Brother is almighty, indestructible, and is at the top of the pyramidal structure. The inner party, which is equivalent to the High, are the rulers of Oceania. They make the policies that governs the world of 1984. Beneath the High and Big Brother's influence lies the outer party, whose name is synonymous to the Middle. The Middle is directly impacted by the High. The constant fear of losing their power has driven the right to surveil them and implement policies that diminishes the power over their own mind. Now to the group that is considered the most important, the pros, or the Low. They are the most free of any group and expected not to show any glimpse of intelligence. Because they make up 85% of the population, hope lies within them.
There is a struggle among the three castes that recurs over and over in a seemingly never-ending cycle. The lower groups constantly vie for a higher position in something similar to a social form of warfare. According to Goldstein's book, for long periods, the High seem to be securely in power, but sooner or later, there always comes a moment when they lose either their belief in themselves or their capacity to govern efficiently, or both. They are then overthrown by the Middle, who enlist the Low on their side by pretending to them that they are fighting for liberty and justice. As soon as they have reached their objective, the Middle thrust the Low back into their old servitude, and themselves become the High. Presently, a new middle group splits off from one of the other groups or from both of them, and the struggle begins over again. The Low are never even temporarily successful in achieving their aims. But what is it that stops them from doing so? They whom have the strength in numbers, they whom have suffered most for entirely too long at the bottom of an unjust power pyramid. Why is it that the masses never revolt? The answer is simple. It is because they are oppressed. They are unaware of their ability to revolt because they are ensnared in the tedious duties they must perform every day to stay alive. As long as they remain in their routine, as long as they are not permitted to have standards of comparison, they never even become aware that they are oppressed. The Low are kept in a bubble. They are seldom conscious of anything that happens outside of it. This, of course, works in the favor of both the classes above them.
A proletariat, according to the Marxist theory, is a class of workers, especially industrial wage earners, who do not possess capital or property and must sell their labor to survive. He or she has no claim or tie to the business that they work for. This means that a business can do this.
It became clear that the best way to stay competitive and protect the business for long term is to move production from our facility in Indianapolis to Monterrey, Mexico.
The proletariat wishes to abolish all distinction and create an equal and balanced society. It is impossible to do so because the plight of the proletariat is that they have no power. Of the three kinds of people, the low or proletariat has been the only group unsuccessful in achieving their aims. The only way they can advance would be if they lived in a socialist society, where the means of production, distribution, and exchange are owned and regulated by the community as a whole. This ideal society will never come into fruition because the high will always want to remain in power. According to Goldstein, no advance in wealth, no softening of manners, no reform or revolution has ever brought human equality a millimeter nearer. From the point of view of the low, no historic changes have ever meant much more than a change in the name of their masters.
Tell me what democracy looks like! All day, all week, occupy Wall Street! All day, all week, occupy Wall Street!
Socialism was a theory that appeared in the early 19th century. From about the 1900s onwards, the aim of establishing liberty and equality was more and more abandoned. As a result, new movements appeared in the middle years of the century. Inkstock became the new political ideology of the totalitarian government of Oceania. The central tenet of Inkstock was to arrest progress and freeze history at a chosen moment. This meant that the high would be able to maintain their position permanently.
In this totalitarian society, the omniscient ruling group have absolute power, with no chance of rebellion from their subjects. However, there is a loophole. The ruling group of Oceania can fall from power in four ways. Either it is conquered from without, or it governs so inefficiently that the masses are stirred to revolt, or it allows a strong and discontented middle group to come into being, or it loses its own self-confidence and willingness to govern. These causes do not operate singly, and as a rule, all four of them are present in some degree. A ruling class which could guard against all of them would remain in power permanently. Ultimately, the determining factor is the mental attitude of the ruling class itself.